Hello everyone, am I audible and visible? Let me know. Let me check. Let me check. Okay, fine. Okay, let us start. Hello everyone, welcome to Unacademy Future Doctors. I myself Dr. Dipti. I am your faculty for Physiology. Let me explain in brief about our subscription. We have two kinds of subscription. Number one, that is plus subscription. Here you can choose the best from the best. Here you can access both live as well as recorded classes, study on the device of your choice, learn from India's top educators. For your medical exams, you can access QuestionBank, which is having more than 25,000 questions. You can compete in the live test as well as quizzes. And with 12 months and above subscription, you can get printed notes too. Second is our iconic subscription. Here you are access to the best from two of the best, and they are, one is Unacademy and Prep Ladder. With Unacademy, all the features I have explained, and second, that is Unacademy and Prep Ladder. With Prep Ladder, here you can have clinical and integrated essentials, video lectures from the Dream Team, Question Bank 3 with active guidance, system tags, and much more, rapid revision and snapshots and treasures in 2021 dream notes. Also, we have added certain features in our special class. We made the class interactive by adding a feature, that is raise a hand. You can talk to your educators, you can poll for the learner, you can never miss a class as you are always notified for the class. You can get PDF lecture notes, and you can access your class at anywhere and at any time. Also, we have updated and highly effective question bank, which is having more than 25,000 high-yield clinical questions which are based on latest exam pattern, and it includes detailed explanation too. Here, just a minute, let me make my phone silent. Okay, fine. These are our NEET PG toppers. Congratulations. Also, we have started our Focus FMG 2022 comprehensive batch from 15 December, that is for 6 months, and Target NEET PG 2022 test and discussion batch from 15 December, that is for 3 months. Also, we have test series from educator side, educator curated test. They were planned on 17 Jan, 22nd and 28 Jan 2022. And here you get a chance to win scholarship, 1 year plus subscription that is given to rank 1 plus 5,000 Amazon vouchers. 6 months plus subscription to rank 2, as well as 3,000 Amazon rupees Amazon voucher, and rank 3 gets 3 months plus subscription and 2,000 rupees Amazon voucher. So you can use my code also to unlock here this curated test. Also, you can use my code and you can get your subscription either plus or iconic subscription. Now, let us come to our topic. Another one more thing is also there, that you can also directly go to live quiz. I'll just show you that live quiz. How can you go to live quiz? I will just show you one video how you can directly enter in the live quiz. That is, I'll just show you that video also. So that helps you to this is the video which shows that how you can this one you can see here. You can go to your mobile, open your app and go to live quiz, take a quiz, and you can enter this code 491764, and this is the code for live quiz. So you can directly go to the quiz 49. You can note down the code also, that is 491764. Okay, thank you. So now we'll start our today's class, and learning objective for today's class. In yesterday's class we have discussed about smooth muscle. We have discussed electrophysiology of smooth muscle, okay, electrical properties of smooth muscle. So today we'll discuss mechanical property, that is contraction of smooth muscle. So excitation of smooth muscle, that is followed by contraction. Second is contraction we will discuss, and third we will discuss certain characteristics of smooth muscle. Very important characteristics, may be asked as a short question. Okay, so starting with excitation contraction coupling. Now what is this excitation contraction coupling? Here excitation contraction coupling, these are the sequences of events by which excitation, smooth muscle, when it is excited, excitation of smooth muscle, that results in contraction, or you can see formation of cross bridges, between myosin and actin filaments. Okay, here another important thing is, in smooth muscle like skeletal muscle, they don't have troponin, we have discussed. Okay, so in smooth muscles they have calmodulin. What is calmodulin? That is calcium binding protein. So calmodulin plays an important role in the muscle contraction of smooth muscle. How, that we'll discuss. Okay, calmodulin, how it plays an important role, that we will discuss now. Smooth muscles, they have an important characteristic. They are in the state of continuous and irregular contraction. This contraction is known as asynchronous contraction. These contractions are independent of nerve supply, means if nerve innervation or nerve action potential is also absent, then in spite of that also smooth muscles, they contract. So this is known as inherent property by birth, congenital or inherent property of smooth muscle. Okay, and that is because of presence of calcium ions. This property is due to presence of calcium ions. Okay, now which are the steps in the smooth muscle contraction? You can see here, first of all, as we have discussed, excitation means action potential comes, that causes depolarization of the membrane, because either action potential or some nerve fiber or hormone, they all, okay, action potential causes opening of voltage gated calcium channels, and calcium ions are released from sarcoplasmic reticulum. Hormone and neurotransmitters, they cause also ligand gated calcium channel opening, as well as inositol triphosphate, that is second messenger, that also causes release of calcium ion from sarcoplasmic reticulum. Okay, so here what happens, increase in the calcium ions in the in smooth muscle cell, because it is either coming out from the sarcoplasmic reticulum or from outside because of opening of calcium channel. So smooth muscle cell concentration of calcium ion increases. Okay, so here now this calcium ion binds with the protein calmodulin. Nawaz Nazir, hi, welcome to my class. So calcium binds with calmodulin. Okay, now when this calcium binds with the calmodulin, it causes activation of this calcium calmodulin dependent light chain kinase, okay, and this light chain kinase is your myosin light chain kinase, which is present on the light chain of the myosin. Okay, now here what happens afterwards when it binds with this and activating myosin light chain kinase? So what happens, this causes activation of, or you can say phosphorylation of myosin light chain gets phosphorylated, so increases myosin ATPase. Okay, so ATPase gets activated. So what happens, what is the action of ATPase? It converts ATP into ADP and phosphate. Okay, and when this ATP is converted into ADP and phosphate, here you can see that provides energy, and that energy is important for binding of myosin head with the actin molecule. So here you can see cross bridges are formed. Okay, cross bridge formation is there, and afterwards there is power stroke. Ma'am, what is difference between glucose, maltose, fructose? All these are you can say glucose is monosaccharide, maltose is disaccharide, and fructose is also your monosaccharide. Okay, so this is your biochemistry question. Okay, this is your biochemistry. Glucose, galactose, fructose, these are monosaccharides. Okay, whereas lactose, maltose, these are disaccharides. Di means they have two molecules. Okay. So now here myosin, you can see here myosin head gets activated. Okay, and it binds with your actin molecule, and there is formation of cross bridge. Okay, and cross bridge formation that results in muscle contraction. So this is your mechanism of muscle contraction. You can see this is different from skeletal muscle. Now we just revise the skeletal muscle contraction. If you can remember, you can see here when action potential comes here, this action potential causes opening of calcium channels here in the presynaptic membrane. Okay, now this calcium ions, calcium channel opens, that results in degradation of vesicles and release of acetylcholine here. Okay, acetylcholine binds with the receptors which are present on the postsynaptic membrane here. Okay, and this acetylcholine, when it binds with the receptor, it causes opening of sodium channels, ligand-gated sodium channels here. Okay, now this sodium channels, when they open when action potential enters inside here, it causes release of calcium ion from the sarcoplasmic reticulum. When calcium binds with troponin C, okay, this binding of calcium with troponin C releases calcium from, you can see here, this troponin tropomyosin complex, it is released from active site of the actin molecule, and that it causes, it allows head of the myosin to bind with the actin molecule. Okay, so these are the steps of muscle contraction in skeletal muscle. Okay, here there is no calmodulin, no myosin light chain kinase gets activated. Okay, now, and what happens in smooth muscle, you can see here as we have discussed. What happened? Study. I didn't get your question. Okay, don't ask irrelevant questions, beta. Now, so we will discuss about here smooth muscle contraction. So smooth muscle contraction, how? You can see here when calcium concentration increases, here you can see calcium binds with the calmodulin. As calcium binds with the calmodulin, okay, this calcium calmodulin complex, it causes activation of myosin light chain kinase. Okay, and this myosin light chain kinase, it causes phosphorylation. You can see here phosphorylation of myosin light chain. Okay, so here there is degradation of ATP because of myosin. ATPase gets activated, and this ATP is converted into ADP and phosphate, which provides energy for binding of myosin head with the actin molecule. Okay, so this is the mechanism of action or mechanism of contraction of smooth muscle. Okay, now next is relaxation of smooth muscle. How these smooth muscles they get relaxed. Okay, so first step is when calcium concentration decreases. You can see when calcium concentration increases, there is contraction. So when calcium concentration decreases, how it decreases? Either calcium ions, they move from intracellular fluid to extracellular fluid, or this calcium ions, they go back to sarcoplasmic reticulum. Okay, so because of this all, calcium concentration decreases in the sarcoplasm. Okay, so this is one thing. And when this sarcoplasm or cytoplasmic calcium ion concentration decreases, okay, so what happens here? There is activation of some other enzyme, one other enzyme, that is myosin phosphatase. Now, what is the role of myosin phosphatase? It causes dephosphorylation. This calcium calmodulin complex causes phosphorylation of myosin light chain kinase. Here it causes dephosphorylation, or you can say it makes it inactivation of myosin light chain kinase. Okay, so what happens here when myosin light chain kinase gets inactivated? You can see here there is dephosphorylation and there is relaxation of smooth muscle. Okay, so this contraction stops and now smooth muscles, they get relaxed. Okay, now here another important thing is which is that smooth muscle contraction as well as relaxation, both are slow processes. Okay, so here you can say time required for the contraction as well as relaxation of smooth muscle is less. Okay, now here what happens, why is it so? Because this calcium pump activity that is slow in smooth muscle as compared to skeletal muscle. Here this is the same diagram, same this diagram shows same thing which we have discussed. You can see here first step, here you can see myosin light chain kinase is here. Here is your myosin, here is your actin. Okay, now what happens then when there is phosphorylation of myosin light chain kinase, it causes activation of myosin head and it causes formation of, you can see here, cross bridges formation and followed by power stroke. Here you can see this is power stroke, you can see here, and followed by that there is dephosphorylation afterwards when calcium concentration decreases, and when calcium concentration decreases there is activation of muscle phosphatase and that causes dephosphorylation and the contraction stops. Okay, so this is the process. Okay, now next is different characteristics of excitation contraction coupling in the smooth muscle, and the characteristics are, one, that is excitation contraction coupling is slow. Okay, this contraction after excitation, you can see here we have discussed slow waves and spikes are there. Okay, so this excitation takes place, or you can say, sorry, muscle contraction takes place after 200 milliseconds after starting of the spike. Okay, after the onset of spike potential, 200 milliseconds after that, after spike potential, this contraction starts and this peak reaches at 500 milliseconds. Okay, so this is very slow process, and that is why is it slow? Because slow attachment as well as slow detachment of cross bridges between actin and myosin filament. Okay, now next is plasticity. What is plasticity? Plasticity means, you can see here, this is one smooth muscle length. When the length changes, this muscle adjusts to that length. That is the property of plasticity, means smooth muscle can readjust its resting length. Okay, so here how can we explain when smooth muscles, they are stretched? It is not like a skeletal muscle. We have discussed in skeletal muscle, more the contraction, more will be the more the stretching, more will be the force of contraction. We have discussed Frank-Starling's law. Okay, but this Frank-Starling's law is not applicable here in smooth muscle. Okay, here what happens, when it gets stretched, it is adapted to that stretch or that length. Okay, no, so you can see here, I will show you, and this is the reason this kind of curve you find whenever volume increases in any of the viscera. I will just show you. Suppose there is suppose your urinary bladder, when fluid gets collected, so initially what happens, when volume increases, initially pressure increases, but after that this smooth muscle adjusted to this length. Okay, and afterwards tension, or you can say pressure, decreases. Again, when further increase in the volume, further pressure increases, then it is adapted to the length and again pressure decreases. So this contraction, this curve between pressure and volume, or you can say that the curve between length and tension, that is not straight, it is like jagged line. Jagged line. Okay, this curve is jagged line. Okay, so during contraction initially there is shortening, but then followed by this muscle adapts to that particular length. So what is property of plasticity? That muscle can readjust its resting length. Okay, when the muscle is passively stretched, it first increases tension, then it is readjusted. Okay, now next very important question, maybe asked as a short question, latch mechanism, or you can say latch phenomena. Here what happens in this phenomena, or in this mechanism, muscle can maintain prolonged prolonged, or you can say for long time, prolonged tonic contraction. Okay, muscle remains in the state of contraction for more time with less use of energy. Okay, because smooth muscles are there in all over our body and they require contraction. So every time if they use energy, then all our ATPs and energies are used for their contraction. So latch mechanism means there is prolonged tonic contraction of the smooth muscle, okay, with less use of energy. Okay, here energy use is less, and that is because of, what is the cause is prolonged delivery of calcium ions. Okay, calcium ions are delivered to the cytoplasm or sarcoplasm for long period of time. So because of that, there is maintenance of high tension. Tension is maintained without active contraction. Without active contraction, tension is maintained, and because of that, smooth muscle, they can maintain that tone state of tension, okay, without much use of energy. Okay, GMC Patiala, I think I have not much knowledge. You just please surf on the net. GMC Patiala, I have not much knowledge. Please get the information from some authentic source, because I have no idea. Sorry. Yeah. No. So maximum force of contraction is greater in skeletal muscle, greater than skeletal muscle. Here you can see. So you can see here that force of contraction, that is for prolonged time without much use of energy. Okay. Now, so latch bridge, what is here? You can see. What is the mechanism here? First we will discuss mechanism. Here you can see dephosphorylated myosin normally dissociates from actin very slowly. Okay, so slow formation and slow detachment of cross bridges, and because of that it maintains a state of tonic contraction. Okay, because here activity of both the enzymes, myosin light chain kinase as well as myosin phosphorylase, activity of both, they are slow. Okay, so if there is strong activation of this two, myosin light chain kinase and myosin phosphorylase, so what happens, this fast cyclic frequency is very fast. Okay, because enzymes are activated and there is attachment and detachment. But if the activity is slow, static, so what happens, there is slow cycling of this attachment and detachment. Okay, so this myosin head, they remain attached to the actin for long period of time, and therefore number of myosin heads they are attached to the actin, they remain large at any time. So here large number of myosin heads they get attached, and because of attachment of all these heads, that results in a state of sustained contraction without use of new ATPs. Okay, so new ATPs are not degraded, and in spite of that they get attached. Okay, so this is, again you can see, this is latch bridge which is formed. You can see here this myosin head, once it is attached, it will not be going to detach. Okay, next is other characteristic of smooth muscle excitation contraction, that is marked shortening of smooth muscle. Whenever smooth muscle contracts, there is marked shortening. Here the difference between smooth muscle and skeletal muscle contraction is smooth muscle can contract more than 2/3 of its original length. Okay, of its original length, whereas skeletal muscle contracts more than 1/3 of its original length. Okay, so this is the difference between smooth and skeletal muscle contraction. Okay, another characteristic is energy required for the sustained contraction of smooth muscle is less than energy required for skeletal muscle contraction. Less energy is required for this slow cycling of your myosin head and actin molecules. Okay, so every time we do not require degradation of ATP, because once they get attached, they remain there without using energy. Okay, so these are the characteristics. Another is excitation of smooth muscle, that is by multiple stimuli. If we are talking about multi-unit smooth muscle, they are excited by nervous stimuli. And single unit smooth muscles or unitary smooth muscles, which are present in digestive tract, urinary tract, okay, so they are stimulated through nerves, cholinergic neurotransmitter, through hormones, through pacemaker. Stretching also stimulates single unit smooth muscle, and cold temperature also stimulates. Another is inhibition of smooth muscle, that is by adrenergic neurotransmitter, epinephrine mainly. Also certain hormones, they also inhibit smooth muscle contraction, like progesterone. Uterine contractions are inhibited by progesterone at the time of pregnancy, otherwise it results in expulsion of fetus. Okay, how it acts? By acting through pacemaker potential. Pacemaker potentials are reduced, and by that way inhibition of smooth muscle takes place. Okay, now next we will discuss question answers. First question, that is write down excitation contraction coupling in the smooth muscle. We have discussed excitation contraction coupling means excitation, that is stimulation which is followed by, or nerve impulse transmission which is followed by muscle contraction or cross bridge formation, that is known as excitation contraction coupling. Okay, that is one thing. Second thing is, here this excitation contraction coupling is different from skeletal muscle. How? Because here smooth muscles, they have calmodulin. Smooth muscles, they don't have troponin like skeletal muscle. Okay, so this is the difference. Then steps of muscle contraction we have discussed. First of all, there is entry of calcium ions. Calcium ions, they enter either through sarcoplasm or sarcoplasmic reticulum. Now this calcium ions, when they enter inside the sarcoplasm, this calcium ions, they bind with the calmodulin. Calcium calmodulin complex is formed, and this calcium calmodulin complex, it causes activation of myosin light chain kinase. Okay, this myosin light chain kinase, it causes phosphorylation of myosin head. Okay, phosphorylation of myosin head, and this phosphorylated head, there is activation of ATPase, which causes conversion of ATP into ADP and phosphate, and binding of myosin to actin. Okay, and that results in cross bridge formation and followed by power stroke. So this is the answer of second question. Okay, third, characteristic features of relaxation. Relaxation, how it occurs? Study medico, what is your problem? Why are you asking irrelevant questions? Please don't ask irrelevant question. What is your problem? What do you want to ask? Let me know. Now, write down characteristic features of relaxation of smooth muscle. Here what happens in relaxation of smooth muscle, calcium concentration decreases in the sarcoplasm. Okay, when calcium concentration decreases, what happens? Because of decrease in the calcium concentration, there is activation of muscle phosphatase. Okay, phosphatase, and that phosphatase, it causes dephosphorylation. Okay, dephosphorylation of myosin head, and when dephosphorylation, that causes you can say stoppage of cross bridge formation. Okay, and because of stoppage of cross bridge formation, there is relaxation. Okay, then characteristic of excitation contraction characteristic of excitation contraction coupling in smooth muscle. So we have discussed one, that is slow excitation contraction coupling, one characteristic. Okay, it starts 200 milliseconds after starting of the spike potential, reaches to peak at 500 milliseconds. Okay, sphincter is present at the lower end of esophagus, that is cardiac sphincter. Okay, pyloric sphincter at pylorus also. Okay, these are the two examples of sphincter. Okay, then second is plasticity. What is plasticity? Plasticity means this smooth muscle, they readjust to readjust its resting length. Okay, so initially if we are stretching, passive stretching results in readjustment of its length. Third property is latch mechanism. Latch mechanism is latch mechanism. Latch mechanism means here the smooth muscle, they do not require energy, or they require least energy for maintenance of a state of sustained contraction. So they maintain their prolonged tonic contraction. Okay, prolonged tonic contraction is maintained by smooth muscles with less use of energy. Okay, so less energy is used. That is another characteristic of smooth muscle. Okay, so this is all about today's question. Okay. Thank you. If you like my video, you can like it, you can share with all your friends, and you can subscribe our channel.